Bino, welcome to your stocks.
We stick with the pharma space. It's after all been one of the better performing sectors in the current year. Joining us now is an expert from IIFL on the pharma space. Bino Pathiparampil is joining us to take us through what are his major picks for 2011 in this space. Bino, first and foremost, are you positive on, I mean, the house view of IIFL, is it positive on pharma as a space in 2011? Would it be a year of some risk aversion which will make perhaps smart money come to a defensive sector like pharma?
Hi, good morning. Our view is that the pharma sector will continue its outperformance into 2011 for a couple of reasons. One, like as you mentioned, if at all there are people who are a bit worried about the markets being high, then we could see some more inflow into the pharma space, it being a defensive sector. Generic pharma is a cost-cutting measure across the developed markets, and we could see some defensive money coming into it. But second and more importantly, I think the business fundamentals also continue to look good. The growth in the domestic market continues to be strong. It's unlikely to be impacted by some economic recessionary pressure. Also, the growth in the US market will continue to be strong for next 2 to 3 years, for which we have improved visibility compared to last year, which would also, I believe, benefit the sector.
Okay. Well, let me come to your top picks in that case, Binu. Sun Pharma is, I guess, ranks among your top picks. What kind of a price targets are you looking at? Likewise, Cipla.
Right. For Sun Pharma, because we don't have a full picture of the US pipeline for the company that will play out over the next 12 to 18 months, it's too early to put a specific price target which the stock could trade at the end of the year. But as of now, from whatever data points we have regarding the potential upsides for the company, I have a price target of anywhere between 500 to 550, but I believe there is more upside in store as we move along and we get more visibility on their product portfolio. Cipla, on the other hand, I think is going through a phase of very slow growth, a little bit lackluster performance over the last few quarters. Some early signs of pickup in growth rate have started showing, but I would wait for 1 or 2 more quarters to see what is the likely performance for the year ahead before I jump onto that stock.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you, but Sun Pharma in the past couple of weeks has seen a fairly decent jump. Would you expect that good run to continue? Is it a buy at current levels, you would think?
Yes, even at current levels, I would look positively at the stock. The recent outperformance has come related to a specific news flow on iloxatin in the US that has led to some earnings upgrades. I believe there are more such news, positive news items waiting in the store. Generic Taxotere launch in the US could be one of them. Improvement in the operational parameters of the recently acquired Taro Pharma in the US could be another one. Some news related to Cadila, either improvement in the FDA issues there and resumption of production could be another one. Delisting of Cadila could slightly improve Sun's margins. Also, there are potentially few products which are not yet in the market limelight, which could come up over the course of the year.
Okay. Lupin was one of those runaway performers in the current year. You're not expecting too much of gains from here on?
Well, after the recent correction, Lupin doesn't look all that bad. There are a few good areas where they are performing really well. Their domestic business is doing really well. The generic business in the US also doing well, growing in excess of 30 to 40%. But the US branded business has since performed in line with the original expectations. I believe performance in that area would be the key determinant of Lupin's performance in 2011. If that segment gets back on growth track, if the products start getting back on a real good growth track, we could see some outperformance from Lupin. But as of now, I would wait for a quarter.
Okay. Cadila, you expect the good run in 2010 to continue?
Well, in case of Cadila as well, there was a, like in the case of Lupin, there was a re-rating in the stock from a mid-cap low multiple. Both Lupin and Cadila have reached the large cap multiples of Pharma. So that kind of a run-up is not to be expected because that re-rating process is mostly over. But I would, again, like in case of Lupin, I would wait for a quarter or two to see what is the stable growth rate of the company's earnings, as well as see if the valuations soften a bit to buy into that.
Well, Dr. Reddy's was at the receiving end of some bad news on the gas leak. We have not seen it develop any ugly proportions so as to impact P&L. But nevertheless, the stock has dipped. Is it a buy just to come back to the original level of 1800 plus, or is there more to go?
I think the correction is mostly done, and like you mentioned, the event so far has not been very serious. And it is unlikely to impact the P&L unless something unexpected more happens. As of now, it's a very contained problem. And for that company also, the US pipeline looks really strong, domestic market doing well, other emerging markets like Russia, South Africa, Venezuela are doing well. So it would be one of my top picks for 2011.
All right. Bino, thank you very much for joining us with your top picks for 2011, and you have a great year as well. Well, with that, we'll wrap up this edition of Bazaar. The markets have not gone anywhere, but you can say a lot more about individual stocks. We have seen 5 and 15% movers on individual stocks. Your stocks is coming up to answer all your stock queries on these movers after this break.